So I started talking. I see you. And you look good, too. Lady with the white hair, love it. So I asked, what do I really want to do? I started talking to the audience, and every day I would ask people from all over the world who would come, some from Australia, what do you really want? What do you really want? What is that answer for you? And people would say, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. And then when I would ask, second question, what does that look like for you? Most women would start saying, well, if my kids are happy, I'll be happy. Really? They're happy and they're gone and they're out. Are you happy still? Maybe that they're gone, but the truth is a lot of people have difficulty answering that question for themselves. What does it look like? What does it actually, how do you feel if you're in that space where you get to be living in the space of joy and happiness everywhere? So I'm here to help articulate that for you. So if you leave this space tonight and you are more determined to live in your true space of happiness, the ticket would have been worth the price. So I'm here to help you see how your life is speaking to you every day in every moment. Because that's how I got here, choice by choice. Woo! Now, the truth is, I'm really a stay-at-home kind of girl. Trees are my sacred space. I love being at home.
Me too.
With my trees. And this video is taken directly from my front yard. I have a group of oaks in the front yard. There are 12 of them that come together and they form this like oak hammock. And I call them the apostles.
It's beautiful.
And the beauty of where I live, because I'm a great manifester. And that's what I want for you, to learn to be a great manifester. I know how to manifest some stuff.
Yeah.
So this is what I manifested. I manifested every tree in my yard. Years ago, when I was living in Baltimore, and even before that, every Sunday I would leave church with my father as a young girl, and we would drive around in the rich people's neighborhoods. Do you ever do that? And you look at all the pretty houses, and I'd say, I want to live in a house like that, and I want to, ooh, who lives in that house? Oh, I want to live in a house like that. And years later, I was at a friend's house who was a producer for a show I was doing in Baltimore. And she was the richest person I knew at the time. They had 3 cars in the driveway. And she lived out in the suburbs. And I was at her house one day, and I was looking outside her kitchen window, and there were 6 trees. And I went, whoa, she's rich. She got 6 trees. So when I get some money, that's what I'm gonna have. I'm gonna have 6 trees. At least 6 trees, because that's how I'll know I'm rich. So I was standing in my own kitchen not too long ago, and I just made myself a nice cuppa. I like to brew mine a little longer, so I was just standing there waiting on the timer. And I was standing at the sink, and I looked out the window. There were they. They were there, the 6 trees. And I went, oh, I got the 6 trees. And I took my cuppa out onto the porch, and I stood there, and I looked beyond the 6 trees and started to try to count the number of trees behind the 6 trees. I could not even count them. I later hired somebody to count them, because you know there are people who will count your trees. There are people who will count your trees. If you ever need a tree counter, there's treecounting.com you can go to, or something like that. It turns out there are thousands of trees in my front yard. So I share this story to say that I could see the 6. I could manifest the 6. But because I try to live in this place of surrender, that which is beyond me, that what the name I give to it is all there is, consciousness, all the forces of life, God. Because I can surrender myself to that, I could see the 6, but that which is greater than I could see beyond. And the same is true for everyone here tonight. There is a beyond for you. If you connect to what I call the spirit within. So I have this prayer chair that I keep outside. I pray there, I meditate there, and sometimes I just sit there. Because that's how I got to be who I am, where I am, connecting to the spirit that I know that we all are. Because first and foremost, there is no life without a spiritual life. And I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about what you choose to worship or how you choose to worship. I'm just speaking about what Pierre Teilhard de Chardin said. What he said is that we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. All of us in our little human suits. Each of us is a spiritual success, and I stand before you as somebody who has excavated that for myself. An understanding that real success comes from being connected to that thing. Your success, your heart's desire, in direct connection to it. And everybody has it. I believe everybody who comes to the earth comes here called. Oprah. I was called in a little town in Mississippi, right off the Natchez Trace Parkway. My calling brought on by a 1950s fashion, actually, because my mother loved a poodle skirt. I don't know if y'all had them here in Sydney back in the 50s. That is a poodle skirt. That is not my mama. But my mama liked a poodle skirt. And one day she was wearing a poodle skirt, because when you turn a poodle skirt, you can see all up under it, you know, you can see. So one day she was wearing that poodle skirt, and my father said, I want to know what's under that skirt. When I asked him, how did y'all meet? And, you know, was it love? And how did I come to be? Well, I want to know what was under that skirt. So my father convinced my mother to leave school with him in his green Buick. And he found out what was up under that skirt. I was. Now let me tell you, the miracle of that. That was the first and only time they were ever together. Stop it, it's true. That's the first and only time they were ever together. So there was a calling on my life, and the universe used a poodle skirt to get me here.